If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option, as Sori says. 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go into Village, Facebook.com/VillageXchange. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch, indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener.
Yes.
Tell these people.
Dear listener. All right, you guys. We have one more song on our 80s metal stream from director DJ Nick, and I was gonna say I think we're gonna like it. I do think we're gonna like it based off of all the picks that he's had tonight, but how do I know? The name of the band is Journey. The name of the song is Mother Father. I sent you a picture of the band also. I am gonna read.
This one wasn't a bad picture in my opinion.
No, they're just interesting, just dated looking pictures, you know?
Okay, the guy with the curly, the blue shirt that's got the curly hair, he's interesting to me.
This person looks familiar.
This guy looks sick. That looks like Mr. Beast's friend.
That's why he looks familiar.
Shout out to Ava Chris
weird.
Tyson.
Bro, that's
yeah,
weird.
I don't know. It's a badass picture. Although this guy on the left with the black jacket,
he looks like he
looks
belongs
like
in that Stalker song.
He looks like he did something. And he's like, "You'll never find out, detective."
All right. The name of the song is Mother Father, and let's see what our DJ has to say about it. He says, Journey was first formed in 1973 by guitarist Neil Schoen. By 1979, the classic lineup of the band had come together, and in 1981, they released the album Escape, which went to #1 on Billboard charts and sold over 10 million copies. Mother Father is the second to last track on a stacked album. The version you're about to hear is from their tour for the album at a concert in Houston in November of 1981. Steve Perry, nicknamed The Voice, gives possibly his greatest vocal performance and has even said it's the hardest Journey song for him to sing. Add in great harmonies, a fantastic guitar solo, and a beautiful keyboard outro. This song is regarded as arguably the band's greatest performance. Wow.
Whoa.
Okay.
That's going to be interesting.
You set a high bar.
That's a very high bar. Let's see it. Let's see it, guys.
We'll be the judge of that.
We'll be the judge of that. Here we go.
Journey.
Mother Father. Journey, let's do it. Uh-oh.
That's pretty.
She sits alone, an empty stare. A mother's face she wears. Where did she go wrong? The fight is gone. Lord help this broken home.
that was Journey.
Yeah, that's...
That was a deep one, bruh.
Yeah.
That was a deep one.
Yeah.
What's going on with you?
Well, I mean, first of all, his voice, the way that he... If you wouldn't have said that it was a difficult one for him to do, I wouldn't have known that. Would you?
No.
It didn't sound like a struggle.
This guy is a consummate professional for sure. For sure.
So, if I'm understanding it...
That's one of the things that Korn really revolutionized, though, was you could tell when Jonathan was having a hard time with the song. Like Daddy, for example, obviously. You could just tell, like, okay, that one was tough.
Oh, when he said hard time, I thought he meant as in, like, the hitting those notes. Voice gives possibilities. He said it's the hardest Journey song for him to sing. Yeah, the voice gives him possibly his greatest vocal performance, and has even said it's the hardest Journey song for him to sing. So I think it was like difficult as in to hit those notes. She sits alone, an empty stare, a mother's face she wears. That's an interesting line.
Why is that interesting to you?
Well, because it's very relatable. In that a mother's face she wears, because like there's a sense in which you're like I don't know if it's like that with being a father, but like there's a sense in which your role as a mother almost wants to overtake your entire identity. And so when she's saying like she sits alone, an empty stare, a mother's face she wears, like it's a part of her, like it's the face that she is, but internally like she's still her, and she hasn't like, I don't know, like, so for me that part was like sort of, and I know like that's kind of like a common thing like that mothers experience, is like losing yourself in the position or the role, because it's such I mean it's the most important job I think that there is. Like I don't think that there's anything, not
even close.
So that part was cool. And then she said, where does she go wrong? The fight is gone. Lord help this broken home. So it seems like that there's a lot of issues in the house. And, Vinny and I talk about this a lot, that in relationships, they're kind of like cyclical, where it'll, if you stick with a relationship long enough, or, I mean, if you just look at your life, I was thinking about this today, and I was thinking, there are certain things that I haven't mastered at my age. And I look back and I'm like, you know what? I can see the roots of that when I was 3, 4, 5 years old. But you make excuses for it maybe when you're looking at it from that far, like when you're that age. But when you realize that, you know what, those were like the little beginnings for where we are now. So like when you look at relationships and you say, okay, you see patterns, like there's patterns everywhere. And so you'll just realize the cycles that it goes through. And if you care enough and you love enough in the relationship, then you're going to hold on through the difficult parts to come around to the highlights and the high points. And I think that it's the same thing, like family wise, when we're talking about all these people in the same vicinity working together or not working together, like it's the same cycles. Like we see it even with our families. People are, I like, that's sort of the language that I've been using with everybody now, using it with the little ones and the big ones. Like we're a family, and like we're all pitching in. Like Orion, I was doing all the laundry today, and I told him to throw away the lint ball. And he was like, why are you always asking me? He's 5. Why are you always asking me to throw away the laundry? Why don't you ask Reza? And I said, well, I ask Reza to do different things. But remember, we're a family. And who's washing the laundry? He's like, you are? I was like, right. I was like, I'm washing your laundry. And all I'm asking you to do is take the lint ball and throw it in the laundry. Throw it in the trash, He was like, okay. I said, we're a family. We got to work together. We got to help each other.
You can reason with Orion.
Yeah. Yep. So anyway, like so I thought that this song was talking about like she's at that point, and I think that you'll contradict me on this, but I think that when you get to the point where your fight is gone, if you hold on and you fight a little bit more, especially if it's something that you believe in and something as important as family and relationships and stuff, and I don't think that it's possible in all relationships and in all families, but sometimes when you hold on just a little bit longer and you have a little bit more hope in it, then you kind of have like that breakthrough and something can change. But when you give up, there's no opportunity for change and there's no opportunity for growth because it's gone now. So it seems like the kid is saying, don't you know I'm alive for you? I'm your seventh son. When the lightning strikes the family, have faith, believe. For me, the seventh son, it just reminded me, like 7, it's the number of completion. It's also sometimes the number of perfection. And when he says, your seventh son, I'm alive for you, I kind of took that as like Orion, he's my rainbow baby. I had him after I had a miscarriage. And so, like, there's
7-year gap.
Yeah, it was.
I think
it
that's
was
important.
Yeah, that's true. There was 7-year gap there, and then Orion comes along, and it's like there are times where like I've found myself in difficult places, and I think that like emotionally we can find ourselves in different places where you start thinking crazy, and like he's one of my reasons. Like I'm like, this kid was like miraculously brought here. Like, Vinny was just my friend for all those years, and he was praying for me to have a son, and he didn't know it, but years later we were going to get married. He was praying for his own kid. Weird. And he also told me, he also prophesied that it was going to happen. And again, it's not like he knew that was you were going to be the answer to that prayer. That's so crazy.
I don't do the prophecy thing. Sori does the prophecy thing. I don't, but that one, and it was funny too, because I was listening to this preacher, and he's like, if you're going into the prophetic, here are some rules. You can't predict anybody's death. Don't predict the pregnancy, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, if you're hearing from God, I mean, what are you supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? But there was, I get it, but, it was already too late, so.
So, it was, that to me is like what kind of like the song was about, like have faith, believe. When lightning strikes the family, have faith. I do not know. Like, I know that families survive without, like, being, like, without Jesus. I just don't know how you do it.
Nobody survives without Jesus.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, a marriage will stay together and go for the long run sometimes.
That's
and I just don't know how. Oh. Well, I mean, directly. Like, I can't imagine.
I would say that would be Jesus directly.
Well, I'm saying, like, I can't imagine, like there are times, and I'm sure that you have had the same feelings with me, where I'm like so frustrated with
Coffee.
Oh, you want it? I thought you wanted me to drink it. I'm like, I'm talking, bro. I'm trying to drink coffee. Like there's times where I'll be so frustrated with, we're a big family. There's people or situations or whatever. And like, there's times where I'm like, look, Jesus, if you don't say something about this to the person, like this is, I need your help. And then like, out of nowhere.
That's usually about me.
It is usually about me.
Yeah, because with the kids,
I just assume they're not going to listen to God. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, but it is weird how many times it's happened where I'll like say something directly, and then he'll be like, "So I had this thought," and I'm like, "Yeah." And then he'll say exactly what the prayer was. And again, he doesn't know what the prayer was because I'd be in the shower praying very quietly with the water running and the music going. There's no way he heard what the prayer was. And so it's crazy to see like supernatural stuff happening.
Oh, but God checks me real quick when it comes to, I forgot what we were doing one time. We were up in Maine. And you asked me something and I said something to me, which was just innocuous. And Jesus was like, that hurt, Shorty. I was like, what? No.
That was here. You came out.
Well, it happened multiple times. But the specific one I remember when we was in Maine. It's like, yo, you hurt, Shorty, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I didn't mean it that way. He's like, yeah, I'm just telling you, you hurt her feelings. So I was like, hey, did what I just say 2 seconds ago hurt your feelings? And you're like, yeah. And I was like, all right, my bad, I'm sorry. Like, it is what it is, man. God shows up, you got to listen to him. I believe that God is in every marriage, whether we want to acknowledge him or not, because I believe that we're so bad that we wouldn't be able to last literally 24 hours with each other without divine intervention. Whether you're a believer or not, that's what I believe. Because the family is the foundation of any society. And so I think God vetoes people's quote-unquote free will a bunch of times in order to maintain an ordered society. And when God is done with a group of people, you first start seeing it in the breakdown of the family. And so, like I said, a lot of young people like to play mix and match and act like, whatever. But there's a reason that from time immemorial, we've had this structure. And it's because it is the best way to maintain look, the number one predictor of poverty is being unmarried.
Yeah.
Especially with black women. When all the Roe v. Wade thing happened like a year or two ago, all the white folks, oh my God, this is going to disproportionately affect black women, blah, 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 blah. As if abortion is a way out of poverty. Dear listener, the abortions do not produce personal wealth. Partnering with somebody over a long period of time creates that. And so, like, we're so smart, we're going to remix everything, we're not held to the old standards, blah, 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 we're going to do our thing, okay? All right. So when this shit like this starts to happen and the family is collapsing because they're going through a situation, the dad is completely out of it because he's drinking and, whatever, for whatever reason. And the mom is like, I don't even know what I'm doing here anymore, because she's kind of done with homeboy. But then the singer is saying, hey, I'm your seventh son. Live for me. I'm alive for you. I'm your seventh son. Just have faith and believe.
Say, I have heard lots of women say, I was going to kill myself, but because of my kids, I didn't. That's been like a lot of people's reasons.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, I pointed out the irony in Handmaid's Tale, where every single one of those babies was a product of some despicable assault, but yet those babies in that story are universally looked at as positive, as hopeful. The main character explicitly states that she has to keep living because of the world that this girl is going to inherit. And so if she did not have that sexual assault baby, she would have been dead in the universe of that story. And so things are not as simple, but women bear a very, very heavy weight in relationships, especially in a family structure. Because whether or not you have a Christian understanding of submission or whatever, generally speaking, especially in these kinds of situations, there's usually a dude that has a domineering aspect of how things are going to go, and the woman generally works inside of that structure to the best of her ability. But it's difficult, and it's a very hard thing for a woman, especially this guy's mom. I'm assuming this guy's mom was probably around in the 50s, 60s, or whatever. And being on your own as a woman I still can't believe this, but apparently women couldn't have credit cards until the fucking 70s.
Yeah.
That's mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
So that means that you're in this situation where if you as a woman get married in that kind of a zeitgeist, there's a lot of pressure on you to make it work. And, I saw a meme one time. It was like all these older people talking about how they didn't quit their marriages. They just made it work. And then she said, and they were getting the shit kicked out of them every other day, blah, 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 blah. But it's all good because she had no other options other than stay in that situation. So, like, I definitely see, like, how a woman in that kind of situation could fall into severe distress. And he's saying, just have faith, keep believing.
Yeah.
And it looks to me like he's kind of like, listen, man, I'm going to make this rock star shit. I'm going to make a bunch of money. We'll solve the problem. But at the end of the day, your family is your family. People say shit that they shouldn't say. People don't say shit that they should say. A lot of really, really difficult things to navigate. Having a family is not easy. And if you believe in malevolent intelligences, if I was a malevolent intelligence, I wouldn't go after the giant Christian rock star. I would go after the women. That's what I do. Because our society is completely angled against women right now. Even the feminists are anti-women. So, so it's like, that's a real, I worry about the girls a lot. When I used to worry about the boys, I used to worry about, like, the effect that they're going to have on women. But when I think about the girls, like, it's a scary thought. And the other thing too is like, right now, no matter what happens, like, if there's an altercation, like with my daughters, like, I'm there. You see what I'm saying? but eventually they're going to transition to adulthood, and I can't get in the middle of their domestic disputes. I'm not supposed to. I remember when I was listening to Focused on the Family, and this girl had her first fight with her husband, and they lived kind of like in the same neighborhood. She walked over to her dad's house. Dad opens the door and says, "What's wrong with you?" And she started talking about her husband, and he said, "Yeah, man, I don't know. Y'all gonna have to work that out." And he closed the door in her face. And she's, and the dad said, "This is not my jurisdiction. Like, you're a grown woman. Y'all gotta handle that. I'm not gonna step into your marriage or his marriage. Like,
I think it depends on the
unless
situation.
the both of you got, well, obviously, if the girl's showing up with black eyes and all the rest of that shit, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about your average domestic dispute." And he said, "No, you guys gotta go figure that shit out."
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be. And so that's what scares me about the girls, you know, because I'm sure the boys are going to call me and say, "Dad, I'm in this situation. What do we do? How do we maintain family unity?" I don't know what the girls are going to do if they marry the wrong dude and he's on some crazy shit.
There's a verse in the Bible, I think it's talking about King Herod, and it basically said that, like, he was he was upset about something, and then it said, and the whole kingdom was set on edge. And there was a pastor that was saying, this is years ago when I was in Bible college, and he was talking about basically, like, ladies, be careful who it is that you marry, because the husband sets the pace for the whole household. So if he's on edge, the whole kingdom is on edge.
That's a truism. I mean, in my previous marriage, Shorty set the stage for the mood of the whole house. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But yeah, I definitely see that.
And like, well, there's a certain, I mean, that was, Anyway, you do have to be careful in those situations. And when I think the same thing when I think about the girls. I'm like, I think about some of the things that, that I've experienced in my years, and I'm like, oh, I would never want that for them. I would never want that for them.
Yeah.
And then I think, oh my God, if that happened, oh my, and it just like, it can sort of be like this overwhelming sort of thought, because you start realizing like how vulnerable women are in relationships. And it's like, but then again, that's why you're like, okay, if there's a standard, if you're in a relationship and there's no standard, and there's no right and wrong, and there's just, everybody's just going by how they feel, and well, then it's gonna be troublesome. It's gonna be difficult. But if there's a standard and both of you have a sort of understanding of like what your relationship is, where you're going, what you're doing, then you're sort of set on a mission, and things are different. Like if you're headed toward a certain goal, there's certain things you're both not going to do because you want that end goal. And so that's, part of the beauty, obviously, of finding someone that loves Jesus, and that, that understands that the commands of God that are in the scriptures not meant to make us miserable, but they're meant to give us freedom. So I'm like, man, I just hope that the girls find somebody that they can, respect, and somebody that they can follow, and somebody that they can build with, and somebody that, like, you want mutual respect in relationships. So, yeah, it is definitely a weird place to be a parent in the situation, looking at it and thinking, oh my gosh, all of the pitfalls that are out there. And you don't want to see your kids struggling. And really, the facts are, there's plenty of times that you struggle, and you didn't run home and talk to your parents about it. So that means, and same with me. And, like, that means that they're going to go through things that they're not going to talk to us about, nor should they, because it's in their relationship. So you got to prep them for what could come or what may come in the future, and give them what they, give them the principles that are going to help them traverse those difficulties. So that way they can hold on and they can build together. And, but yeah, man, I don't think, what do you think it means when it says one photograph in broken glass?
That's probably, a photo deals with a specific moment in the past.
Yeah.
And it's before we had phones. So it's probably, he set that picture out there, and then he's a drinker. So he probably broke the glass, because he was drinking or whatever. It seems to me about a dude that's stuck in the past and has a bad present. That's what it symbolized to me. So the picture represents the past, and then the broken glass would be what was happening right now in his timeline. So it's
yeah.
not
wow. Ooh, that's so poetic. Okay.
yeah, really, really good song, man. Really good song. It was pretty deep. Like I
Yeah.
said, like these 80s bands are kind of deceptive because on the one hand, when I think about 80s, especially when I see pictures like that,
Yeah.
I'm like, we're having fun, we're doing coke, breast implants, blah, blah, blah. These dudes are singing about some real shit. They were singing about some real shit.
Yeah.
So, respect to them. I'm going to give this one a 9.7.
9.8 for me.
You gave it a 9.8. I'll answer this as a bonus question. Vin, not sure if this would be too personal of a question, but what would you do or how would you react if your daughters got into pornography and couldn't get out of it? I mean, first and foremost, I'd be really hurt. I would probably do a lot of internal, how did you miss this? What was the thread type situations? But as far as what I would project to the girls, either one of them, I would project unconditional love and you can come live with us type of situation. Get her on her feet. We're pretty open about sex and sexuality in this household.
Mm-hmm.
One of my goals is to not make sex this horrible, terrible thing.
Yeah.
While simultaneously not making it this exotic sort of like, oh, you can't touch that, so I'm gonna go. You know, it's a really hard
fine
balance.
line because you also want to give it the respect it's due. So
Yeah.
it's like, you know, it is a fine line between.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
is. And so we've had explicit conversations about those things and that industry and things of that nature. I did an actual moderated debate with a sex worker about sex work. So that's up there if you guys want to see it. VinandSori@gmail.com. I'll send you the. I don't advertise the actual debates that we do. I've got like 3 or 4 debates between the channels, and I never advertise them. But if you want it to happen, then we'll make it happen for you. Yeah, man. Like, so if that was happening with my daughters, you know, obviously I would just make sure that they were good, they were safe, and then hopefully they're in a situation where they can trust us enough to have those conversations and all the rest of it. There is coming back. Like, the whole porn thing is another thing where I say only Jesus can solve this. Because your shit is just out there, and it's out there forever.
Oh my God. Every time I think about people in that situation, I get so stressed out for them because I'm like, and there's so many times that, like, you know, when you think about rage porn, just, you know, when people are in a relationship with somebody and you trust that person, and so, you know, people sharing photos and then, you know, stuff doesn't work out and then the person just totally disrespects you and puts the stuff out there.
Revenge stuff. Yeah. That's why.
Did I say it wrong? It's revenge porn, I guess, not rage porn.
I mean, it's same idea. Like, these dudes are, it's
we're in a different place. Like,
we make sure that the girls know about that too.
Yep.
Like,
oh yeah.
You know, hey, you know, you get hooked up with a boy, blah blah blah. I get it, but this is the world that we're in. You know what I'm saying? It's a really interesting question. I think every Christian parent needs to wrestle with that question and wrestle with how they're going to present sex and sexuality to their kids, because if you fuck up on that, it's really destructive on both ends. You know, what I've found is a lot of Christian parents, they just won't talk about it. They'll complain about how nasty the school is for sex education, but at the same time, they won't educate the kid on sex. So they got the Planned Parenthood operative that shows up there, and you know the rest.
Yeah.
I saw how people reacted to Nala Ray's conversion to Christianity. Was heartbreaking. Yeah. One of the girls, I've talked about this girl so many times, Albany Rose. She was my atheist pro-life warrior. And she was a Satanist at one time. And that whole situation with Nala actually is what resulted in her conversion. Yeah. So I'd send her stuff. I'd send her whatever, yada, yada, yada. And, like, we go back and forth a little bit. She came in the room one time. I'm like, I'm going to convert you. And it wasn't me. It was the way they treated this girl.
And her husband, I thought she gave him credit, too.
They've got he's a Catholic. He's been, you know, holding it down the entire time. But the real big thing was the way that they treated Nala, because she had an abortion. Not Nala. I don't know if Nala had, but she had one. So it's like, well, if somebody jumped on me about my past, I could never get in. And so she saw people standing up for this girl. She saw dudes standing up for this girl. because of what Jesus had done for her. And that's the thing that pushed her over. So it's like, this is a real, I believe the attack against that girl was completely and totally motivated by Satan. Not even close. Satan took religious spirit with the jealousy that women have over beautiful women. And they're also upset at the fact that she was able to scandalize herself like that and still find a way to get a guy who, good-looking dude, who loves her and is committed to her. A lot of women don't have that experience. And so there was a lot of just ventilation about this woman. Pearl was talking about it, all the rest of it. And I saw the hurt that they were masking. And so especially when it was girls, when it was dudes, like, you guys know me with dudes, like, I have no patience. But the girls that were going after her, like Pearly went after her, like Pearly's kind of like
I think she represents something. I think she represents, like, I can't tell you how many times, like, it's constant, really, that girls are saying, I just had this really bad feeling, so I went into my guy's phone, and it turns out he's been talking to this girl, they've been sending pictures to each other, she's been sending, so she represents, like, you know, they're talking about OnlyFans, he's been paying some other woman, he's in a relationship with you, he's having sex with you, but he's paying someone else he's paying somebody his money that he could be taking you out with. He's paying this girl to see her body, like, and so I think that Nala represented this feeling of, like, this insecurity that's in women that, like, okay, your guy's looking at, and she's what they're looking at.
Yeah.
And so there's, like, this hatred of the event and the circumstance, but it got poured out on Nala.
Yeah, I mean, they wanted her to face the consequence of the of her actions, quote unquote. You know, the whole manosphere thing. If you've got more than 2 bodies, by the time you're this, you're worthless. Blah blah blah. So they're preaching this message to women, and women are like, yeah. And then here's this woman who violates all these rules, and she still finds a way to get a very attractive dude to commit his entire life to her in spite of what she did.
Yeah.
And I think at the core of that, there's a lot of insecurity in women where they're like, would anybody, like, love me that way? And so they're upset that Nala has this supposedly easy life. She made millions off that thing, and now she's married in a committed relationship. Yeah. Like, she had everything. She made all the mistakes, and she didn't suffer the consequences the Manosphere people told her that she was going to suffer. So, like, the song is really deep because your mom and dad could be, like, imagine being the kid of one of these women that's going after Nala. Like, that's probably not a good time at the house because that woman is stoking up all this insecurity, and then, you know, here it is. There's a lot of things that go into why homes get broken. And when you look at social media, like the little blips that get the attention, it's really interesting. You had Nala, you had the Haktua girl, it's like really interesting what gets blown up into a cultural discussion. Really good song, 9.2.
9.8 for me. 9.8.
Holy smoke! Shout out to the big homie
Director Nick.
You guys know.
Another great night.
You guys know he's the undisputed Friday champion. You know what it is. You know what it is. Nick, thank you so much, dude. These were really good songs. Blast from the past. Put us in a time machine all the way to the 80s.
Just so everybody knows, next Friday, is another Director Nick stream.
Yes.
So be on the lookout for that. It's going to be same place, same time.
He owns Friday nights, dear listener.
So yeah, that's coming up. I think that would be the 23rd, right? It's going to be a Christian metal rock stream. So I'm like, I wonder if I'm going to know any of these songs or if they're all going to be new to me.
Yes.
So thank you all for coming through. Nick, thanks for doing the stream. I mean, I enjoyed the stream. I love the 80s.
Yeah, 80s is a really, really good time. And this made me respect the 80s because a lot of these songs were really, really deep. Mm-hmm. It wasn't just, hair band shit. But maybe all the hair bands had deep music and they just put 1 or 2 radio hits so that they could get on MTV or whatever because it was new at that point. So, yeah, that's shout out to them because that's not easy to pull off in any way, shape, or form. For sure. Shout out to the big homie director Nick. I didn't watch the debate between Pearl and whoever it was, Michael Knowles or whatever, because I don't take Pearl seriously in any way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. If I was Michael Knowles, I guess you have to do the debate because she's influencing people, but I never really took her as a serious actor with this stuff. And thankfully, her star seems to have dimmed. Bless God. Mm-hmm. So that's good. I haven't heard any antics from her recently, so that's good.
Yeah, hopefully she's changing her perspective, though. Because she's got such a toxic mindset right now. And if she gets into a relationship with that mindset, with putting out those ideas,
well,
like,
part
I
of
don't
me,
see how
part
she
of
doesn't...
me, part of me is, I'm not even sure she actually believes that shit. I look at her as a girl who probably did not get a lot of male attention and affirmation coming up. And her playing this role got her a lot of attention and affirmation from dudes who would never date her. Mm. That's the crazy part. Mm. But much love to all you beautiful people. Director Nick, we will see you guys next Friday.
Next Friday. Well, I think we might have a stream before then, but check out Patreon. Again, the post is free for you to be able to see what streams are upcoming, who's going to be on the docket, and what we're going to be doing. So if you're a paid person, if you pay on Patreon, which is as little as $1 a month, you're going to get the notifications when there's a random stream that gets added or whatever. So, but either way, if you go in manually, you can still see that and know what's going on.
Night, Lost Tape.
So
good to
we'll
see
you
buddy.
guys. We definitely see you guys next Friday, but there might be a stream in between. Just check it out.
Yeah, we might have something from Lost Tate as well.
Mm-hmm.
We might. Stay tuned.
Good night, guys. Thanks for coming through.
All right, guys. Much love. Vin out.